Hello, everyone. Everything changed inside Windsor Castle when Princess Anne delivered a sealed letter containing a final request from King Charles. Upon hearing the contents, Prince William, the heir to the throne, completely broke down. So what was the request that could break a future king? Join us as we explore the truth behind this shocking moment and what it means for the future of the royal family. A big question before we begin: was King Charles's move to bet his future on Catherine a genius or a gamble? Let us know what you think. Comment 1 if you think it was genius and 0 if it was a gamble. Now enjoy the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to decode the royal secrets together. King Charles's final request was unexpected. When Princess Anne opened the sealed letter from King Charles, no one in the room was prepared for what it contained. Everyone assumed the message would focus on Prince William, the next in line to the throne. After all, it had always been that way, but King Charles, even in his final moments, went off script. The letter was not about William, but about Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge. As Anne read the words aloud, the room fell into stunned silence. The senior royals, who had witnessed decades of tradition unfold before them, sat there with wide eyes. Prince William himself looked stunned, not out of jealousy or embarrassment, but because he knew this moment would redefine everything. It was as if history were being rewritten right there in the drawing room at Windsor Castle. Catherine had always been revered by the public, elegant, poised, graceful under pressure. But this was different. It was more than admiration. King Charles's final message recognized her as essential to the future of the monarchy. Not just William's wife, not just a future princess, but a force in her own right. In the letter, Charles described Catherine as the true heart of the modern monarchy. He praised her quiet strength, her ability to connect with people, and her calm presence in the family's darkest moments. He called her the royal compass, a phrase that reportedly brought Princess Anne to tears. The letter made it clear that the survival and prosperity of the monarchy depended on her as much, if not more, than the heir. The message shattered the assumptions that for centuries succession planning had focused on males' bloodlines and birthrights. King Charles III's words about Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, marked a significant and profound shift in the way the modern monarchy should be viewed. It was a clear recognition that the stability and vitality of the royal family in today's turbulent world requires more than traditional titles or formal ceremonies. It requires public trust, genuine warmth, and someone with whom the public can feel genuinely close and approachable. In Charles's eyes, Catherine has been playing this important role brilliantly, becoming an indispensable factor in the future of the royal family. What made King Charles's reference to Catherine so powerful was that it was not sentimental or purely personal, but strategic and visionary. King Charles had long observed how Catherine handled everything from intense media pressure and relentless scrutiny to tumultuous family scandals, all of which she handled with poise, grace, and competence. He saw that Catherine had become the most trusted figure in the monarchy in the eyes of the public, especially among the younger generation, a key factor for the future survival and development of the royal family. By making Catherine the focus of his final message before abdicating, King Charles was not trying to sideline King William. On the contrary, he was actually strengthening William's position by affirming his partner's value and indispensable role. What he was trying to convey was, "This is your partner not just in marriage, but in the monarchy. Trust her and follow her lead." It was a meaningful entrustment, encouragement, and clear instruction from a seasoned king to his successor. The message also hints at a future monarchy that will be very different from what we know. It will be less rigid in its rules and rituals, more emotionally intelligent in its approach to the public, and more focused on partnerships between the royals and the public than on maintaining traditional hierarchies. Charles's words were not just a tribute to Catherine, but also a guidepost, charting a new course for the royal family in a new era, emphasizing the importance of understanding and connection. Yet for all the calculated public moments, there were also some heartbreakingly private and honest ones. There were no cameras to capture them, no crowds to witness the future king collapse under the weight of the burdens he was about to assume. But in the quiet private sanctuary of Windsor Castle, William's mental breakdown was raw, and deeply human. It was not a dramatic outburst or a public royal scandal. It was a quiet storm, a pain so profound and hidden that it implied the weight of centuries of expectation weighing on his shoulders. The moment demonstrated that the burden of the crown was not just a political or ceremonial responsibility, but also a huge psychological and emotional challenge for those who bore it. The recognition of Catherine's role not just as a partner, but as a pillar of strength for William and the monarchy itself underscored her importance amid the invisible and visible pressures facing the royal family. Catherine was not just part of the royal family, she was the future and the pillar of strength for generations to come. It began with a breath as Princess Anne read King Charles's final request. William's breath caught in his throat. For a few moments he didn't move, then his shoulders slumped, as if the full weight of the British monarchy had suddenly fallen upon him. His hands gripped the polished mahogany table until his knuckles turned white. Tears welled in his eyes, not tears of grief, but of something deeper: pressure, identity, and confusion, all colliding at once. This event is not only a family story, it also reshaped an entire dynasty. So what kind of future royal family do you want to see? The traditional model with a king as the center of power, comment number 2, or the modern partnership model where William and Catherine shoulder the burden together, comment number 5. Let us know your choice. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any developments in this new chapter of history. This was not about being ignored, but about facing a truth for which he was unprepared. William had spent 41 years being shaped by tradition. Every step of his life, his education, his military training, his public service, had been directed toward a single role: the next king. He had been taught to lead, to maintain the throne, to carry on the royal legacy. But now, in his father's final message, the spotlight had subtly shifted not to him, but to Catherine, and while there was no bitterness, there was a quiet shattering of expectations. The story he had believed in, the story he had been told all his life, was changing in real time. What happens when everything you've prepared for suddenly looks different? That's what William faced in that room. It wasn't jealousy, it wasn't resentment, it was the shock of realizing that tradition was giving way to change and that his wife was being seen as the center of that change. The pressure was not just personal, it was institutional. The monarchy, now over 1,000 years old, was evolving faster than anyone had imagined. And William, who thought he had time to grow into his role, now saw a future where he wasn't leading alone or even completely at the front. He was standing beside the person the world, and now his father, saw as its anchor. And then there was Catherine, who did not flinch, did not cry, did not whisper. But she moved closer to William and placed a steady hand on his shoulder, which was all she needed to do. Her presence was enough. Sometimes the greatest form of support was silence. Catherine's calm did not come from indifference. It came from strength. She was always steady, But in that moment, her calm became her strength. While the others in the room were swept away by emotion, she stood firm as a pillar, silently reminding William that he had nothing to lose. He was sharing in something greater. The future of the royal family may lie in a shared throne, not a single dynasty. Queen Elizabeth's prophetic vision as the royal family sat in stunned silence. After hearing King Charles's final request, Princess Anne quietly reached for a second envelope. Unlike the official letter from the king, which was solemnly embossed and sealed with red wax, this envelope was smaller, simpler. It bore the late Queen Elizabeth II's signature handwriting and the unmistakable air of something deeply personal. It was a handwritten note filed away years before her death in September 2022. Queen Elizabeth II, with the experience and insight of someone who has witnessed decades of royal ups and downs, left a meaningful comment about Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge. She will be the pillar that holds them all up. It is worth noting that this prediction was not intended for the central figures often mentioned, such as Queen Camilla, Princess Anne, or even the future King William. This comment was recorded many years before King Charles's health declined, before the question of succession became urgent, and long before Catherine's role began to change significantly. This was not a whim, but a quiet prediction demonstrating the Queen's deep understanding of what is needed to maintain the stability of the monarchy. The Queen's choice was not based on personal feelings or blood ties, but on careful objective observation. She had watched Catherine through years of intense public scrutiny, family turmoil, and ever-changing royal expectations. In all this, Catherine remained remarkably calm, graceful, and steady. Perhaps the Queen recognized in Catherine a special ability to handle pressure without flinching, a rare and essential quality for someone who would take on such a great responsibility. One of the most striking qualities that Catherine has shown is her incredible resilience and resilience. Despite the tabloid media storms, the tumultuous departure of Meghan and Harry, and other family tensions, Catherine has always remained calm and unfazed. She has maintained elegance and poise in all situations, demonstrating an extraordinary inner strength. Queen Elizabeth, who has endured countless challenges throughout her reign, must have appreciated this ability to stand firm in the storm in Catherine. She understands that royal titles may be given, but true stability is best revealed in chaos. Furthermore, the Queen may have seen in Catherine an unwavering dedication to royal duties and responsibilities. Catherine has always demonstrated professionalism, diligence in public engagement, and a clear commitment to her role within the royal family. This stability, combined with her ability to connect with the public in a genuine way, has helped to strengthen the image of the monarchy. These are traits that Queen Elizabeth II, who is known for her lifelong commitment to service, would certainly value and trust. Catherine not only performs her duties, but also brings a steadfastness and reliability that the Queen sees as fundamental to maintaining the institution. Queen Elizabeth's prediction of Catherine as a pillar was not a sentimental favor, but the result of a keen observation of a woman who had demonstrated extraordinary character. She saw in Catherine the resilience, adaptability, dedication, and a solid temperament to face the greatest challenges. In the uncertain future of the royal family, Catherine has proven herself to be a stabilizing factor, a solid support for the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, just as the Queen saw and believed long ago. She saw Catherine's ability to soften difficult moments, to follow royal protocol while remaining modern. She watched her raise a young family, support William with quiet strength, and never let the pressures of the palace overshadow her role as wife and mother. These were not just nice traits, they were survival traits for a modern monarchy. And then came Princess Anne's moment. As the weight of both messages settled in the room, Anne looked directly at Catherine, not William. With the kind of conviction that only Anne could muster, she said Catherine was born to play this role. There was no dramatic hesitation, no need to argue. Anne's words were simple but decisive. She had served 3 generations of royals and knew what true leadership looked like. Catherine's power was not manufactured or media-trained, it was real. Anne had seen it in the way she listened, the way she acted, and the way she never let the spotlight overshadow her purpose. In a family where every move was watched, authenticity was the rarest currency, and Catherine had it in abundance. With Anne's endorsement and Queen Elizabeth's prophetic note, the message is now undeniable. Catherine is not just part of the monarchy, she is at its heart. Not by title, but by conviction. Long before she walked the halls of palaces or graced the covers of magazines around the world, Catherine Middleton lived a life that could be described as quietly ordinary by royal standards. Raised in the lush countryside of Berkshire, she grew up in a middle-class family built on warmth, work ethic, and dignity. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, built their business from scratch, teaching their children the value of hard work rather than privilege. Catherine's upbringing was not flashy or attention-seeking. It was built on foundations that many would recognize: practicality, common sense, courtesy, and respect for others, regardless of status. These were not just family values. They became guiding principles for the future Duchess of Cambridge. And in many ways, it was this normality that became her greatest strength. Before she wore the crown, Catherine carried herself with a confidence that was earned, not given, and that made all the difference. During her years at Marlborough College, Catherine was never the loudest voice in the room or the center of any social circle. But those who knew her described her as dependable, thoughtful, and quietly confident. She excelled in group work, not because of the limelight, but because people could trust her to get the job done with grace and composure. Even then, there was something unshakable about her. But her real turning point came at the University of St. Andrews. It wasn't just where she studied art history, it was where she met Prince William. While the media likes to paint it as a fairy tale moment, the truth was much more realistic. They met as students equals friends first, and then a relationship later. There was no script, no grand plan, just a natural, evolving relationship. The future of monarchy did not begin with a crown. It began with a cup of coffee between 2 classmates. And from there, something extraordinary blossomed. Catherine never pretended to be someone else, even under the watchful eyes of the royal family. She remained true to herself. No scandals, no tabloid battles, no image games, just consistency. A rare quality in royal circles and greatly appreciated by those around her. Her relationship with William was allowed to develop without rushing. The couple dated for nearly a decade before marrying, a decision that gave them both time to grow, adjust, and truly understand each other. It also gave Catherine time to understand what life inside the royal family would entail. But the most remarkable thing about Catherine's journey is not just how far she has come, but how she has not lost herself along the way. In a world of roles and rituals, Catherine never stopped being Kate, and that is why people trusted her. She entered the royal family not with a bang, but with quiet tenacity. She did not seek to change the monarchy overnight. Instead, she slowly became the change through patience, integrity, and absolute trustworthiness. Her rise was not overnight, but a gradual process shaped by authenticity. The wedding was a revelation of strength. On April 29, 2011, more than 2.5 billion people around the world watched the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton. But what unfolded at Westminster Abbey was more than a royal spectacle. It was a turning point not just for the couple, but for the monarchy. After years of tabloid turmoil, public distrust, and generational change, the moment offered something rare hope. It was not just a wedding, but a quiet reintroduction of dignity and continuity to an ancient institution. It looked like a fairy tale, but it revealed something far more powerful: Catherine's unshakable strength. When Catherine stepped out of her carriage at Westminster Abbey on her wedding day, the world held its breath. Her stunning wedding dress, designed by Sarah Burton, instantly became a fashion icon and was admired around the world. However, what really captured everyone's attention was not just the splendor of her dress, but the bride's incredible poise. From the moment Catherine's feet touched the historic stone steps leading to the Abbey, she exuded a rare, calm poise and focus that left a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. Catherine's walk down the aisle was neither hurried nor hesitant. Each step was carefully measured, with her posture straight and her face serene, exuding an inner confidence. She was not overwhelmed by the weight of history that was everywhere in Westminster Abbey, but seemed to blend into it naturally. Despite her lack of aristocratic background in front of royals, world leaders, and a television audience of billions, Catherine displayed a quiet strength that made everyone feel that she truly belonged here, an indispensable part of this grand historical picture. Inside the convent, amidst the constant flash of cameras and the eyes of the world, Catherine's presence remained unshaken. There was no sign of confusion, no worried glances, no hesitation. She seemed completely in control of her emotions and exuded absolute confidence. That calm and composure was not only that of a bride on her big day, but also that of someone deeply aware of the great responsibility she was about to take on, a role that far exceeded that of a bride. Catherine did not simply assume the role of a bride entering a royal marriage, but she accepted the responsibility of a future princess with all the grace and full awareness of what lay ahead. She understood that this was not just a romantic kiss on the balcony of Buckingham Palace or a day of fun, but the beginning of a lifelong mission. This maturity and understanding was evident in her every gesture and look, showing that she was well prepared to face the challenges and expectations of royal life. The wedding day was not only a personal milestone, but also a powerful testament to Catherine's character. With composure and self-control, she demonstrated that she was not just a choice of love, but a resilient individual capable of playing a vital role in the future of the British monarchy. It was a defining moment not only for Catherine herself, but also a promising sign of the stability and grace she would bring to the royal family in the years to come. When she and William emerged onto the balcony of Buckingham Palace for their long-awaited kiss, it was like a modern fairy tale. But the moment also marked the beginning of something much more serious. From that day on, Catherine's life would be scrutinized, her every move analyzed, and she was ready. The power on display at the wedding was not spontaneous. It was the result of years of quiet preparation. Catherine had faced the media pressure long before her wedding day, and instead of flinching, she learned to manage it with poise. She never sought the spotlight, but she never appeared to be fazed by it either. Whether it was paparazzi lurking in the bushes or intrusive tabloid headlines, she handled it all with dignity. And ever since, her calm composure has become one of the royal family's greatest strengths. After a lavish wedding watched by billions, many expected a fairy tale sequel. But for Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, real life as a royal began immediately, and it wasn't all tiaras and garden parties. The transition from private citizen to full-time working royal comes with intense pressure and constant public scrutiny. The wedding dress comes off, the cameras turn off, and the real work begins. Since becoming a royal, Catherine's every move has been analyzed. What she wears, how she walks, what she says, and even the way she looks at William have suddenly become topics of global discussion. A simple smile can make headlines, a slightly different outfit choice can start debates on social media. Royal watchers study her body language, tabloids compare her to Princess Diana, often unfairly. Even shopping trips become front-page news. But behind the glitz and flash, daily life is far from glamorous. Being a royal is not about fame, it's about stamina. Catherine quickly found herself immersed in royal duties, ceremonial duties that required long hours, often with little rest. Life as a senior royal is not all about glamorous public appearances. It is also a constant stream of engagements where Catherine must shake hands with hundreds of strangers, maintain impeccable manners, and engage in countless polite conversations, many of which can become a blur by the end of the day. Official trips across multiple continents require a grueling schedule, constant travel, and millions of eyes watching every move. These pressures are an unavoidable part of the role, requiring the Duchess of Cambridge to be both patient and professional. However, the most difficult moments often came when the cameras were not rolling. Away from the limelight, Catherine had to adapt to a life with little privacy and little real rest. There were probably quiet moments of doubt, exhaustion, and pressure, especially as she balanced her intense royal duties with raising a young family under the constant scrutiny of the world. Her ability to endure and overcome these unseen challenges is a testament to her mental strength. What makes Catherine's transformation and adaptation truly remarkable is how quietly and discreetly she has handled all of this. There have been no dramatic speeches that have caused a stir, no controversial interviews that have made headlines, and no attempts to dramatically or overnight change the monarchy. Instead, she has led a quiet revolution, a subtle shift in how the royal family connects with the public through her own example and consistent actions. Catherine's influence has grown not through bold statements or headline-grabbing moves, but through a calm consistency in her actions. The stability and confidence she exudes has created a strong sense of trust in the public. Her charitable work, particularly in the areas of early childhood development and mental health, demonstrates a deep understanding of the long-term impact these issues have on society. She doesn't just go through the motions, she puts her heart into what she does, making meaningful changes in her community. Catherine's choice to quietly contribute and adapt rather than complain or collapse has defined her place in the modern royal family. She has become a model of resilience and service, a person who balances tradition and innovation with deftness. It is these qualities, along with her ability to remain calm and reliable under pressure, that have helped her cement her role as a pillar for the future of the monarchy, just as Queen Elizabeth II predicted. She didn't chase headlines, she made real change, visiting hospitals, meeting parents, and lending her name and time to causes that were often overlooked. Her leadership style was subtle but forceful. She didn't demand attention, but she always commanded respect. Staff, other royals, and the public all recognized her reliability, thoughtful approach, and deep sense of duty. Over time, not only did Catherine integrate into the monarchy, but the monarchy itself began to reshape itself around her strengths. She didn't just adapt to royal life, she refined it. In an era when public opinion about the monarchy fluctuated wildly, Catherine became a symbol of stability, Not by force, but by example, not by privilege, but by presence. As traditions evolved and roles changed, her steady hand and quiet grace became a model for what the modern royal family could be. Catherine's rise to power didn't just shape her personal legacy, it helped reshape the entire structure of the monarchy. For centuries, royal leadership had been defined by male heirs' titles and a rigid sense of duty. But Catherine's journey demonstrated that power, stability, and leadership could come from anyone regardless of title or tradition. Her influence did not come from blood. It came from her actions, from how she carried herself, not just where she stood. This was a sea change. It showed that monarchies were beginning to value partnership over hierarchy. William may have been the future king, but Catherine was clearly more than a supportive wife. She was his partner in duty, in leadership, and in public trust. The crown may rest on one head, but its weight is shared, and Catherine bore it with grace. Catherine's role also changed the way people viewed the monarchy. She acted as a bridge connecting royal traditions with modern values. She did not abandon the past, but she helped the monarchy speak to today's world. She showed that royalty could be both respectful and approachable, both formal and human. That balance is rare and important, especially now when institutions everywhere are under pressure to remain relevant. Catherine brought a modern power that was not loud or demanding. It was calm, steady, and trustworthy. She also became a stabilizing force within the royal family itself. When Catherine stepped out of her vintage Rolls-Royce in front of Westminster Abbey on April 29, 2011, the world literally held its breath. The eyes of 1 billion people were fixed on the future bride of the British royal family. Her stunning ivory wedding dress, designed by Sarah Burton of Alexander McQueen, instantly became a timeless icon. But it wasn't just the sheer beauty of the dress that really captured the world's attention. It was Catherine's incredible poise and confidence. From the moment her feet touched the cobblestones leading to the altar, she exuded calm collectedness and focus. She was unfazed by the immense pressure of a historic event, a moment that millions of people were watching every minute of. Catherine's walk down the aisle of Westminster Abbey was neither hurried nor hesitant, but each step was carefully measured, leisurely, and confident. Her erect posture, serene face, and steady eyes exuded an inner beauty and incredible spiritual strength. She did not seem overwhelmed by the long and important history that weighed on every stone and wall of the Abbey, but instead, she blended into it naturally and consciously. For someone of no noble birth, standing before a host of senior members of the royal family, heads of state, and billions of television viewers required extraordinary courage. Catherine displayed a quiet strength that made everyone feel clearly that she not only belonged there, but was born to take on this role. Inside the Abbey, amidst the solemn atmosphere and the thousands of flashbulbs constantly flashing, and with the whole world watching on small screens, Catherine's presence remained steady and steadfast. There was no stuttering during her vows, no anxious glances seeking reassurance, and not the slightest hint of hesitation. She was completely in control of her emotions and the situation, displaying a rare composure under extreme pressure. Catherine did not simply assume the role of a bride on the most important day of her life. She also took on the enormous responsibility of a future princess, with all the grace, intelligence, and full awareness of what lay ahead. The bride Catherine understood that this moment was not just a romantic kiss on the balcony of Buckingham Palace to the cheers of the crowd. It was the beginning of a lifelong mission, a long journey full of challenges and responsibilities for the royal family and the people. This maturity, understanding, and deep sense of responsibility was clearly demonstrated in her every gesture and every look throughout the ceremony. It showed that Catherine was mentally prepared to face the enormous expectations and constant challenges of royal life. That wedding day for Catherine was not only a major personal milestone, but also a testament to her character and character. With absolute calm and self-possession, she demonstrated that she was not just a woman chosen by love, but also a resilient, capable individual, ready to take on a vital role in the future of the British monarchy. It was a defining moment not only for Catherine herself, but also foreshadowed the future of stability, grace, and strength that she would bring to the royal family for decades to come. A request has been made, and the history of the British royal family has turned a new page. King Charles has given Catherine the soul of the future dynasty, where power no longer comes from blood, but from resonance and trust. Is this the key to their survival? Leave your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to decode this great story together. Thank you, and see you in the next pages of history.